Hi, I'm EJ, and welcome to Rerun Reviews. Now I have a question for you. Who doesn't love Lucille Ball? Yes, Lucy is one of the most notable and prolific figures on television, and after almost 2 decades of near unmitigated success, she was not slowing down in the late 60s, starting her third television sitcom, which ran on CBS from 1968 to 1974. Comedy is by far my favorite genre of television. Why be sad when you can be happy and have almost no consequences for your actions? So I'm really looking forward to seeing what she has to show for us. Let's have a look.
Here's Lucy, starring Lucille Ball.
Is it over? Ah, crap. Okay, I want to stop for a minute and analyze this. No wait, I don't want to, I fucking need to, because this is the most frightening fucking thing ever. Look at those cold, lifeless eyes. And with that red hair, it may as well be John Wayne Gacy dancing around. This is a weird combination of elements. An aging Lucille Ball, a lifeless Thunderbird's puppet, and stop-motion animation. Name 3 boner killers. And why is she dressed like a witch? This is a comedy, not Dark Shadows. I know Bewitched was popular, but tone it down a little. Who am I kidding? They're not going to tone it down. Listen, we're going into some real old-style entertainment, so settle in.
That means you like my jackets.
Oh, I think they're groovy. She hasn't got a Chinaman's chance. Sorry about that.
The whole premise of the show is that Lucy's a widower raising her 2 children, Kim and Craig, played by her real-life children, Lucy Arnaz and Desi Arnaz Jr. And she works for her brother-in-law, Harrison Otis Carter, played by her old foil Gail Gordon, at Carter's Unique Employment Agency. Most of the time, the show's plots would revolve around Lucy getting into some kind of jam, and more often than not having to either talk her way out of it or dance her way out of it. By today's standards, it's nothing too special, but it had its strengths, like Harry's dialogue in particular and the chemistry between him and Lucy being a major highlight of the show. But having said that, there are a few issues. Now, by this point in her career, Lucy had accumulated a lot of Hollywood friends. Her use of them as guest stars dates back to I Love Lucy, but with this show, it seems like every second episode not only has a celebrity in a guest role, their names are in the title and they're playing themselves. How often can a widower secretary bump into Hollywood celebrities anyway? Like, just have a look at some of these titles. When these celebrity episodes would arise, they'd normally become buddy pieces between Lucy and the guest star in question. Like in the Season 2 episode, Lucy and Liberace. You see, in this one, Craig borrows one of Liberace's candelabras to collect for an initiation scavenger hunt. I know, just go with it.
With a wardrobe like this, I don't need big jokes.
It's very funny stuff. did you always go in for sort of wild clothes?
Oh, yes. When I was with the Boy Scouts, I wore sequin merit badges.
Now look at how they're standing, and how they're delivering their lines not to each other, but to the audience and to the camera. Like, this isn't a TV show at this point, this is a stage show that they're performing. And that's some old school shit right there. The actors on Here's Lucy had this attitude of performing the show almost as if it was on a stage rather than as a conventional sitcom as we know it now. And this technique dates back to I Love Lucy and a lot of the other shows that were around at that time. But it seems to be taken to the extreme here, especially during the musical numbers.
Not in the dark, but right in the light.
On the silvery moon,
I said the moon, not the sun, but the moon.
I want a spoon.
You'll find her swooning right under the moon. Honey, I'll prove love's due.
But never fear, my friends. You see, sometimes a celebrity would actually play a character. Like in the season 5 episode, Lucy Goes on Her Last Blind Date. Now pay attention, you are not going to want to miss this shit. You see, Harry's cousin Ben comes to town, and he's very keen for Lucy and Ben to get together. Lucy, however, after one blind date, is not too happy with the idea. However, when it's discovered that Ben has a fortune in land, Harry becomes even more persistent on the two getting together.
All right, Lucille, let's face the facts. In the first place, Ben is a good sort. Second, he's loaded. And third, you are no spring chicken.
Oh, boy, Harry.
Now be reasonable, Lucille. Do you want all that money to get out of our family and go to strangers?
I don't care who gets that money.
Oh, bite your tongue!
Lucy's in a pickle, and not for the first time. And how is Lucy going to get out of this one? Well, she's concocted a foolproof scheme. She's gonna scare him away by dressing up like a werewolf. Roll the fucking clip!
I can still see the look on her face. Boy, she was just... Boy, you gave me a start there for a minute. I thought you were still in the kitchen.
Works first time, every time. But really, that's her fucking plan? It's not even a good disguise. If she wasn't in her 50s, she would have just invented the slutty Halloween costume. But all this talk of werewolves has brought up another key issue. Throughout the show there were plenty of well-written, funny episodes, but there were a few that kind of pushed the realms of where suspension of disbelief can take us. And one of those episodes was Season 2's Lucy and the Generation Gap. Did you ever want to see a 50-something woman in a high school play? Yeah, me neither. You see, Kim and Craig are putting on their annual high school play, but they have a little bit of a problem.
I never thought we'd have casting problems. You know, the kids looked okay playing kids, but they were so unbelievable playing parents.
A bunch of high school kids aren't great actors. Could you imagine? Where else could that have happened? That's an impossible situation right there. But it gets bigger. You see, instead of using the crappy high school actors, Kim and Craig have a remedy. They're going to use their mother and their uncle in their high school play. You know, because kids into musical theater don't have enough problems fitting in. And this isn't to say that this episode is completely awful, just mostly awful. It's got that Lucy and Harry banter that pretty much defined the series and made it watchable, especially in the later years. Like, just have a look at some of this.
After all, you are our only uncle, and you set such a wonderful example for us to follow.
I know.
Oh, well, I'm sure Uncle Harry would do it if he could act.
What do you mean, if I could act?
Well, I mean, you...
I will have you know that in college I won an award for my brilliant performance in Romeo and Juliet.
I didn't know that.
Oh, what a performance.
The whole reason this episode exists is for Lucy to have a musical number at the end. And it's not even that great a musical number. It's basically the same one performed slightly differently 3 times. And can you imagine just a whole bunch of parents lining up outside the school? They get in, they sit in the auditorium, they're all ready to see their kids. The announcer says, "Ladies and gentlemen, your children." And the curtain opens up, and they get this. Doesn't seem like the most popular play ever made. Kim, Craig, I think you're maybe missing the point of having the high school play to begin with.
Parents, children, we are the positive proof. Is your madness, both living under one roof?
Now, if you thought that that episode was a little too much, then you're not going to like Season 4's Lucy's Lucky Day. You see, Lucy gets picked in a television game show, and after answering a few questions, she has to pick the door with her prize behind it. Unfortunately, she picks the dummy prize, which means that in order to win $1,000, she has to train a baby chimpanzee in 1 week to do a single trick. Yeah.
That won't be an imposition, will it?
No, my brother-in-law Harry stayed with us longer than that.
They're giving an untrained chimp to some nobody off the street. Are they high? And what if it goes all Travis on her and rips her face off? Someone's gonna get sued. And it doesn't seem like it was the most enjoyable experience for the chimp either. Like, the next few minutes after she wins the contest are spent shouting at it.
Pay attention. All right, Jackie. Come on, Jackie. Here we go, Jackie. Wee! Wee! Stay, Jackie. Just watch. Watch, Jackie. Watch.
Jackie. Maybe if we glued her hands and feet.
No.
That's cheating.
Jackie. That is not a trick.
How is nobody stepping in and putting a stop to this? Seriously, it's like watching someone pick up a dog by its hind legs and push it around like a wheelbarrow. Do you want to hear a funny story? One of the ideas they had to make the chimp more receptive to learning is for Gail Gordon to dress up in a gorilla suit in the hopes that if the ape saw another ape do a trick, it would be more receptive to it. Unfortunately, even though this worked fairly well, Gail Gordon took the mask off between takes and freaked the chimp right out. They had to take it away and calm it down. This episode does not make me feel clean at all. But don't you worry. They managed to teach it a trick and won their $1,000. So after that week of torture and having to pay for a whole bunch of bananas and animal diapers, let's see this impressive, wonderful trick.
While strolling in the park one day, in the very merry month of May, I was taken by surprise
by a pair of roguish eyes.
while strolling in the park one day.
While strolling in the park one day, I met the silver dog on the way.
Oh, tell me, pretty maiden, are there any more at home like you?
There are a few, kind sir, but simple girls and proper too.
Oh, tell me, pretty maiden, what these very simple girlies do.
Okay, where's the trick? Seriously, I've watched this thing twice now, and the closest thing to a trick that I've seen this chimp do is that it hasn't pulled down its diaper and started flinging its feces all over the room. What was I meant to be looking for?
It won't be a stylish marriage.
Wait a minute. That was it. They choreographed an entire musical sequence around the 2 seconds it took for that chimp to cross its legs. Well, I guess it's my fault that I missed it then, because my attention must have lapsed around the 3-minute mark of the musical number. And how did they even come up with this? They discovered that the chimp was receptive to music. You see there? Look at that, it's spinning around in a fucking circle. How did that become a 5-minute musical number with costumes and everything? Like, there's only so much singing and dancing that I can take before it becomes a little bit repetitive. Well, Lucille, you certainly got us into a shit fight this week. What are we going to do, Mother? I know. How about we do a musical number? Oh, Mother, that's your solution to everything. Oh, I'm sorry, Kimberly. Forgive me. It seems that every other time that we try this, it works out well for everybody. But no, I guess it was foolish of me to suggest it. Mea culpa, Kim. Mea culpa. Here's Lucy was hilarious most of the time. It was usually pretty well written, and a lot of its strengths came from the banter it had between its key players, in particular Harry and Lucy, like I mentioned. But upon viewing it now, it's very clear that it hasn't aged too well. The heavy reliance on musical numbers and guest stars in particular can become kind of tiresome after a while, especially some of the musical numbers, which can take up to half an episode. But you have to give them props for at least working them into the show instead of, you know, just shoving them in and creating music videos willy-nilly, you know, like some other shows that are on TV right about now. But on the whole, if you're into musical comedy, it's worth checking out. And even if you're not, I'd still say give it a watch. Like, just try watching one episode, because odds are there's something in there that'll probably make you laugh. Lucy was an icon for a reason. And that's all for now. I'm EJ, and this has been another Rerun Review. Roll clip. A redhead, a witch, and stop-motion animation. A Tim Burton wet dream.